Greetings. My name is Mike Levis, and I'm an instructor with the Mount Hood Ski Patrol Avalanche Program. In this presentation, we will continue our discussion of human factors in decision making. We will start by discussing some common scenarios where human factors can impact decision making, then wrap up with a discussion of tools to compensate for heuristic traps and other decision making challenges. As we go through this presentation, we will discuss the main decision-making personality types: unconscious, emotionally biased decision-making, evidence-based decision-making, and rule-based decision-making. Rule-based decision-making is typically the most effective when you have inexperienced travelers or people who are in an environment that they're not familiar with. It requires the least amount of judgment. Evidence-based decision-making, again, deals with data, but lets you use your experience to in greater flexibility in interpreting the data that you're seeing in front of you. Give some thought to how you make decisions. Which decision-making style do you feel most comfortable with? Does your decision-making style change based on the situation you find yourself in? Let's run through some common decision-making traps you may encounter. Rush for tracks. We've all seen this. Got to get fresh powder. This is the scarcity heuristic in action. City time versus mountain time. City time has wired us to operate on a schedule. The mountain doesn't care about schedules. Conditions should dictate the schedule. This means we need to alter our mindset and accept the fact that our schedule may need to be adjusted. Smelling the barn. This is a common at the tail end of a trip. The rush to get back to the trailhead can result in poor decisions or lack of attentiveness regarding signs of increasing risk. An avalanche can happen on the way back just as easily on the way out. Have conditions changed that increase avalanche risk? Risk tolerance. The key issue here is the variation in risk tolerance between different members of the group. Some participants may have a high risk tolerance and be inclined to take greater risks. Others in the group, not so much. This should be discussed in pre-trip planning, along with how to resolve any conflicts that may occur during the trip. Avalanche skills versus travel skills. We touched upon this briefly in our last module. The best skier in the group may not be the most avalanche-aware person in the group. Weather can also affect our decision-making and perception of risk. Bad weather can lead to haste, which can lead to weather tunnel vision. The group may not be as attentive to signs of instability due to a focus on worsening weather. Both weather and avalanche hazards may be present, and both will need to be managed. On the flip side, good weather can lead to a false sense of security. After all, avalanches don't happen on a bluebird day, do they? The point of this slide is that while weather is important, you need to stick to whatever process you're using to manage risk in avalanche terrain. Attention to slope angle, what may be above you, the presence of terrain traps, and signs of instability needs to continue in all and any weather conditions. Economics can also influence decision making. All of these examples are various versions of the scarcity heuristic trap. Quest for first tracks and powder leads to the "we have to open the area" mindset that can lead to increased risk or just ignoring signs of avalanche danger. This next one is commonly heard from people visiting Mount Hood and the Oregon Cascades from out of state. They spent a lot of money on this vacation and they're determined to get their money's worth. This commonly occurs with the third example. Another chance may not come for a long time. Another item of note, with the increasing requirements for permits in Oregon and Washington, I'm hearing more of this kind of thinking. Permits are a scarce commodity allocated by lottery in many areas. People who have permits will sometimes make decisions based on the goal of maximizing time in the permitted area at the expense of increased risk from other factors such as avalanches. Both of these attitudes lead to poor decision making and can end poorly in elevated avalanche conditions. Equipment also plays a role in the level of risk people are willing to accept. The widespread use of beacons and airbags should have reduced avalanche fatalities. The data indicates otherwise. Why is this? Studies seem to indicate that as risk is reduced by advances in safety equipment, people increase the level of risk they're willing to accept. This effect is called risk homeostasis. Tremper refers to it as increasing the stupid line, as shown in the bottom figure on the left. Carrying safety equipment shouldn't give you permission to take more risks. It's like wearing a helmet. You do it because it's a good idea, not because it lets you do more. Decision-making can be complicated when traveling in larger groups. Groups tend to assume greater risk than individuals. There is the attitude of safety in numbers that leads to greater risk tolerance. Several other heuristic traps can also come into play. Competition, particularly between males, can lead to increasing risk. Goal alignment can complicate decision-making. Does everyone in the group have the same goal? Is there a common goal that has been communicated to the group prior to the trip? With a large group, there can be a wide variation in experience and skill level. This can lead to a wide disparity in risk tolerance and greatly complicate decision-making. There is also the herd mentality pitfall, where the more experienced group members have the expert halo and the less experienced members are reluctant to speak up if they're uncomfortable with the decision. And of course, communication in general is more complex. These issues should all be discussed before the group leaves the trailhead. Compare this situation with a small group. With a group of 2 to 4 people, communication is greatly simplified. You can more easily align ability level and risk tolerance, and more easily come up with common goals for the trip. So what can we do to improve the quality of our decision making and reduce the effect of human factors? This slide lists some general steps that any group can take as part of pre-trip planning to set the stage for good decisions. As we stressed in Avalanche Level 1, it's really important that there be a leader. If you're traveling with a small group of friends, this is less critical, but there should be an understanding of who will be in charge in the event of emergency. There should be a common goal to the trip, and the goal should be known, understood, and agreed by all members. The time to hash all this out is before you leave home. Communication is important, obviously. Beyond the frequency, the method of communication should be thought through. Will radios be needed? Will there be cell coverage? Considerable thought and discussion should go into defining points along the route where decisions will need to be made, what alternatives can be planned in advance, and how decisions will be made. This includes decisions to cancel the trip before you leave home, or decisions that can be made at the trailhead regarding different routes or different activities based on conditions at the moment. Keep an open mind, be flexible, and be willing to constantly reevaluate plans. Don't get locked into the consistency trap. Hazard evaluation is a process. Whatever process you use, and there are many, should take away uncertainty and help you organize and prioritize data. The process is intended to improve the quality of decisions by forcing the group to make data-driven decisions. Data-driven decisions can remove or reduce the biases that human factors can introduce. The process needs to be something that is ongoing throughout the trip, not just something you use at the trailhead and then file away. As you go throughout your day, new data will become available, and your plans need to be revised to reflect these new inputs. So let's shift gears and discuss some common decision-making tools. ALP Truth, Red, Yellow, Green Light, and Evaluator are all tools that are intended to reduce subjectivity in decision-making. There's one additional mnemonic, facets, shown here in this slide that is specific to human factors. Facets is a helpful tool for sound decision-making and to eliminate human factor bias. Add this to your toolkit. ALP Truth is a rule-based decision-making tool used on current environmental data. It is referred to as the obvious clues method. There are 7 critical factors shown on this slide. 1 point is assigned for each parameter that is currently true. The parameters were selected after analyzing data from many avalanche reports over time. For example, recent avalanche activity in the last 48 hours should get 1 point. No recent activity will get 0 points. The point total is summed. Anything higher than 3 has a significant chance of avalanching. Anything greater than 5 should result in a change in plans. Another evidence-based tool is the Evaluator, developed by the Canadian Avalanche Association. This slide shows the front side of the Evaluator. Where you might place yourself on the grid is determined by a score calculated using the table on the back side of the card, shown here. This is the back side of the Evaluator. As you can see, the analysis is heavily driven by current conditions, for example, signs of instability, and terrain. This also implies you can reduce risk by changing the terrain choices. The last tool we'll present is the red, yellow, green system developed by Doug Fessler and Jill Fredston. Note this tool is a rule-based tool based on the avalanche triangle. All of these tools are described in great detail in Chapter 7 of Tremper's Staying Alive in Avalanche Terrain. Please check it out. I would encourage you to try each of these tools and select the one that works best for you. All of these evidence-based tools can be applied in several different contexts. For example, evidence-based criteria can be based on present conditions. This is probably the most unbiased choice. As a reminder from AVI 1, recall that there are several categories of data. Class 1 data. This is what we see in front of us on the mountain. This is the most up-to-date and reliable, includes things such as woofing noises, cracks, or other signs of instability. Class 2 data. This data indicates indirect evidence of avalanche risk, things like slide paths, recent loading, slope angle, and the like. This data is an indicator of avalanche risk. Class 3 data. This is the kitchen table data, the forecast data we look at before we leave home. This will give us the sense for trends to expect on the mountain and whether risk is increasing or decreasing. Note that all three categories of data are used. The only difference is the time frame and weighting you give the data. Class 1 data will obviously be weighed more heavily. After doing your data-driven risk planning, you would then need to overlay the human factors as we discussed previously. Another decision-making context could be trip objective. As we mentioned previously, goal alignment is critical to managing human factors. What do we want to accomplish and why? What are the assumptions behind our goal? For example, do we really understand each member's skiing ability and the demands of the route that's chosen? Do they align? What decisions have to be made during the trip and how will we make them? Do we need to reach certain landmarks by a certain time? What is our turnaround criteria? Are there alternatives to our plan if we encounter conditions that are not aligned with our assumptions going in? Note these decision-making criteria are not mutually exclusive to the previous example of the data-driven context. Both should be used. A third useful context is risk tolerance. How will the group assess risk? Is there terrain along the route where the risk is expected to be higher? How does the group feel about that? Are there alternatives that reduce risk? The last bullet on this slide is particularly important. How will you get back to the trailhead? Is the route a loop or an out and back? Is there a point of no return where you're committed? What decisions will need to be made and how will we make them? Note in the above, when we say, how will you make a particular decision, I mean both what data will you look at to make the decision and how mechanically will you make the decision. Majority rule, does the decision need to be unanimous? What if there's disagreement on interpretation of the data? How will this get handled? All of this should be discussed before you head up the mountain. The bottom line in all this is to make decisions based on facts, not assumptions or desires. Be aware of factors influencing decisions and human factors that might color or corrupt the decision-making process and lead to poor decisions and increased risk. And as before, remember the key questions and be obsessed with consequences.